Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Elizibar. We have kind of a special thing going on here today in this episode, which should be going up. When I say today, I literally mean it. It's 1:30 in the morning here. I'm totally dealing with a case of insomnia. You know how it is. You know how it is. It happens to everybody sometimes. Now, the special thing we have going on is this book, White Lily. The creator reached out to me on Twitter and was like, hey, would you like to review my book? I'm like, sure. It's kind of funny because I remember taking a look at this on Kickstarter. I think it was over the weekend, and I decided, oh, you know what? That's probably not for me. Okay? I want you to remember that. My first thought when I looked at the Kickstarter was, that's probably not for me. Now, the other thing is, hey, Elizibar, don't you have a whole lot of books you need to read already? And you are, in fact, correct. If I click over here to my camera and I turn the stack of shame on its side, oh, you can kind of see the stack of shame. What is that, like 30 books? It's ludicrous. Ah, they're going to fall on the floor. Let me cut away before it happens so you don't see my eternal shame. All right, straighten that up real quick. So yeah, I got a lot of books I need to read. I got a lot of books I need to review. Not all of these reads will be reviews, obviously, but a lot of them will. So now you're like, okay, why is he taking time to not only read this, comment on it? A couple of things. One, this book is based on a true story. And I don't mean based on a true story in the fact that, oh, there were the night witches in World War II. Like, I don't mean it like in that regard. No, I mean it like literally, this is a fictionalized biography of a real person. She really existed. I had to look her up, but her name kind of rung a bell, the White Lily thing. And so I had to go look it up just to confirm. And I remembered she's a real person. Okay, so we have three issues I want to look at. Here's the first one. Look at the coloring. Right here on the color. The cover. There, I can English. Not exactly my jam. There's something about it I don't like. It's too much. Too gradiated. It looks too digital. I don't know how to put a more fine point to it. It's like when I was looking at Red Ninja Momiji. That book kind of has the same problem. Although Rodrigo, he's a fun guy to follow on Twitter. If you don't do that, you should. He's gotten better. Oh, did I mention this is a Kickstarter? We will come over to their Kickstarter and take a look at it here before we're done. And if I remember, I will put a link in the description below so you can conveniently click over and go check it out yourselves. Okay, so I'm looking at this, I don't like the coloring right away. Something about the line art on the cover feels weird too, like his eyes are set oddly. So are hers for that matter, but I think that's actually the coloring making it look that way. Okay. I really like the lily. Let's go to, let's see, I got here, I want to look at pages 4 to 7. Why? Because I think pages 4 to 7 kind of illustrate the worst and best parts of this book, aside from the planes. So page 4. I don't even know where to start, man. I really don't. That coloring is killing her. Like, this doesn't look right. And I'm not sure, but I think the shape of her brow changes between all three panels. Am I seeing that right, or is it just because here she's kind of raising her... What is she doing? Yeah, I think she's raising her eyebrows, but it's really only affecting the inside and not this part? Because her eyebrow doesn't look like it ticks up that much. Now, see, I'm nitpicking, but this is the little stuff, and I noticed it. Now, while I'm complaining about her, I look down here. This dude actually looks really cool. I don't mind the coloring on his face. These other people's faces, they don't look so good. but it actually works on him. He's got enough little details on his face, little scars or marks or whatever, that it looks all right. Oh, that's what it is. This just looks smooth. It looks airbrushed. I think that's the word I'm looking for. This looks airbrushed. Like, to the clothes, it's kind of fine on the clothes. The socks, the shoes, which are incredibly cute, by the way. All right, so what do we know about her? We know her name, Lilia Litviak. Litviak? I'm totally butchering that, and I apologize to anybody with her name. You know, can we just... Here we go, Lydia. Oh, there we go. You know, it doesn't matter. She's been playing about the Germans. Is one night too much to ask? Need coffee. Kind of a fun way to sneak the title of the book in here, over top of the credits. Something feels a little odd about that. But you know what? We'll let it go. We'll let it go. Here she is. The face looks a little too smoothly airbrushed. She has no cheekbones. Those are like the world's smoothest cheeks. So, as you can tell, I have some problems with the coloring. Now I get down here, and there's some fun stuff going on here. She's talking to this guy who's a baker, and of course he sells coffee. He's the only baker that's up all night in town, apparently. And there's a bombing raid. We get that emotional punch, we get a literal punch. And what are you going to do? That's what you're going to do. The rest of this book, issue 1, is spent setting up. It sets up her relationship with her mother, with her boss, her friends, this girl that's hitting on her. Like, it just sets up all that stuff. Dialogue's fine, but there's places where, I don't know, the dialogue feels... There are places in here where the dialogue feels like we're getting a gruff translation of Russian into English instead of it just being they're speaking in English because we've translated the Russian into English colloquialisms for us. I'm trying to remember where I saw an example of that, and I don't want to scroll through the whole book looking for it. Maybe it's just the first time I read it, I was missing some words, because I would have sworn that this text bubble, the first time I read it, said, I shall take you on proper date, as opposed to a proper date. So I thought we were like being super gruff Russians. So maybe that one's just entirely on me. I don't know. Little Russianisms get thrown in, like thank you, right here. Hope you can see that all right. But that's enough time spent on issue 1, because issue 1 is not what's being funded. It's issue 3 is what's being funded. So let's go look at the next one. Let's look at issue 2. Oh, I didn't want to show that page. I wanted to start at the cover. You can already see here on the cover, coloring's changed. That's not the only thing that changed. The writer changed. Also, White Lily, hold on. This version of the title not look as good as this. And if you're going to put it on the side over here, I feel like even though you have that flower, it should be right aligned. The butt up against where it says issue 1. Like, I think that would have looked better. That's just my opinion, though. It's published, this says Walden, but that's the author, or the artist, right? No, is that actually the publisher? Where does that Walden come from? Published by Pocket Jacks. I'm make sure the publisher's saying, yeah, PJC. Okay. That was the Twitter handle that reached out to me, was PJC. So whoever runs that asked me to take a look at this. Nice plane. Got the little line slitch notes in motion, propeller spinning. So we see them. Ladies here. Like she's got a little bit of cold going on, and actually they all kind of do. That's a really nice touch. Wear nice furred boots. Like, okay, this looks legit. Bomber jackets. Like, yeah, I'm down. Let's look at the next cover. Oh, also pretty cool. All right. Let's just look at the credits here. Color has changed, and the letter are changed. I didn't really talk about the lettering in the previous issue. Uh, it's just kind of there. I didn't have a strong opinion about it one way or another until I saw the lettering work in this one. And I really like the lettering in this one. Like over here, I don't know. I don't. It might be even be the same font. I'm not sure. I really like the way it looks over here. I can't tell you why, but this issue I think looks a little better. Let's see. I wanted to show page 7. Remember how I said we were setting up like relationship stuff in the last one? That kind of boils up here. Our heroine spurns her, steals him from her, and they go off and they do the nasty. Sure, you can imagine how that goes. There's nothing explicit. I'm just going to skip over those pages because I don't want to linger on them. But this kind of sets the tone for a lot of their interpersonal relationships. Want Ryza to soothe your battle wounds? What do you want? To offer Alexi something you can't. And what is that? Take to bed the woman who beat him. Would like that, wouldn't you, Lieutenant? I thought he was... Wasn't she in love with the captain? Maybe got a promotion later. Doesn't matter. And, oh my. I'm tapping the screen like you can see my ink pen. Oh my, that is more than a little direct. I don't know about 1945 or 1942 Russia, but that's awfully direct. Now we'll skip all the mushy-gushy relationship stuff. Oh, actually, let's get her little disappointment face. The moment of truth. Vodka! I sure hope that was meant as a comedic beat because that made me laugh when I read it the first time. And it got me laughing here, which is pretty good. I wanted to skip to 14 and 15 because that's where the air battle begins. Also, the pilots, they don't always really get along. There's jealousy and stuff, and some interesting relationships. Their boss is, well, the real Lily antagonized her. So the relationship fits. So look at the airplanes. It's a pretty good panel. I don't really like the way the clouds are colored. The lighter parts seem a little too light in this context. I feel like the gray that was picked as the base should be a little grayer and maybe a little less blue, and then you can have the blue sneak into the darker areas, but whatever. They're clouds. Generally, I like the way all of this looks. I say generally because these planes here in the foreground are really great looking, but these have about as much presence on the page as those. And you don't see any little greebling or like the metal panels on the wings or anything. Like, shouldn't there be right about... Can you see my mouse cursor? Yeah, good, you can. Right about here, shouldn't there be a little tick in the middle and a little tick over here? Just judging by what's here. So the quality drops off real fast as soon as something's not a foreground element. Like, you should see a little line there, you should see a little line there. This guy and this guy, that's totally excusable. But I think these ones are all close enough. You should be able to see that. Even here, you can see like the Russian or the German markings on these planes all the way back as far as here. You only go away for this very last layer of stuff. Maybe a little more detail would have been nice, but like here, you can see like so there's some detail on the fuselage. So, you know, take it or leave it. I generally like things a little over rendered, but boy, when I get to this next page, I don't care about what I just said. I know I was scrolling down as I said it, but you get to this page, You have all this spiraling vortex of chaos, everybody dogfighting, using the tactics perfected in World War One, because the way airplanes work didn't really change between World War One and World War Two. They didn't really change until the invention of the heat-seeking missile and the radar-guided missile. I guess there were prototypes like in the 50s, but that wasn't really reliable until after Vietnam. That was one of the reasons why the F4 Phantom 2 basically flopped. They retrofitted a gun on it. Was the missiles were not reliable enough yet. So you get to all this chaos, and I no longer care. Look at the look of surprise. Yeah. Kind of grim. She's facing death right here. She really is facing death. Comes to the dogfight late after their formation has collapsed. Yeah. Also, if you can get above them, that's great. You know, as soon as you're facing death, everything changes. Everything absolutely changes. I gotta wonder how this is gonna look. This is being published as single staple bound issues, right? Like, I think this will look fine. Full copy, regular cover. Yeah, so this is totally going to be published single issues. Bound in a trade, I don't think this page would look very good, because look where the crease in the middle is. Right where the explosions are. Maybe not the best choice there if you're going to bind this up into a trade. Was there anything else I wanted to show out of this? I don't think so. I think that's enough of issue 2. Let's take a look at issue 3. Now this one, I don't know what Phoenix Fan Fusion is, but this one, where things really just kind of get crazy. And give me just a second. I've been talking a lot here. I need to take a little drink of my sparkling water. That's good stuff. It's crisp, refreshing. Now that first issue is kind of you know? There's not a lot happening except for people talking. Second issue has a pretty glorious battle sequence in it. Third issue really kicks up. Here's the cover. You have to forgive me. This PDF is formatted differently than the other ones, so looking at single pages doesn't really happen. But that's a good cover. It gives us a sense of dread. It also sets us in a bombed out city. There are only going to be so many of those in 1942 in Russia, Leningrad, and especially Stalingrad. And guess where we are? I'll give you a hint. It's the one named after Stalin. So we cut back, got more fighting. I don't think I noticed before. I think the lettering changed again. Hold on. Scroll. I was skipping this page, but let's see. Same colorist. Oh, the pencils changed too. But I have absolutely no complaint. The penciler here, is it the same inker? Let's see. Diana Greenhigh with Jeremy Clark. Yeah, that's probably why. Some of the same inking work, even though the penciler changed. Oh! I'm sorry. I really need to show this. This is the reason why the penciler changed, and that's unfortunate. And this is a very touching tribute, and I'm glad this is in the book. This adds some meta context to what's going on, and I appreciate that. It's a shame he wasn't able to finish the project he was working on. Okay, so once again, got some staff changes. The letterer did change. Okay, so that makes sense. And we pick up with another glorious battle. And boy, there's some stuff I really like in these panels. Ready for me to show it to you? You ready? I don't think you're ready, but we're going to look anyway. The rivets. I'm trying to remember if in the previous panels where we've seen planes, if we've had the rivets everywhere. I'm looking, it looks like we've got maybe a little line there. Yeah, we really don't have individual rivets being drawn in, but they are here. Check that out. Pretty cool. But her plane gets hit. She has to bail. He's protecting her because that plane's going to come kill her. Boom, right there. That's a great setup and payoff. This is these inset panels actually work really well. Sometimes inset panels can be confusing. Here it works pretty well. The one complaint I have is these three right here. See, here we have like, got this thing, then we wrap around here to the bell out. Okay. This one's the same height as that one, but it's shorter. This one's longer, and this one isn't the same subject, and it cuts like that. Over here, we don't have a progression like that. It's kind of jumbledy. We got this squarish one, this less tall one, and then we go back to a squarish one. It feels like this one maybe, I don't know. That just seems odd to me when I'm looking at it. That we cut this order and that they're organized just straight across, whereas over here we had this very dynamic layout of the inset panels. In fact, I think I just realized, I probably realized this when I was reading it because I read the text, but my eyes just realized this panel doesn't show her. That's the pilot over here protecting her. Also, if I've said a he when it should have been a she or whatever, blame it on the fact that it's almost 2 in the morning. All right, we've been talking for a while now. I should probably pick this up. Let's see, I want to show this page, and then this whole sequence here. She gets a rough landing. I'm not entirely sure how she rolled into the wall, unless we change camera angles here. It seems like she should have skid the other way. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Now death comes for me. Need to stay low, find a place to hide. A trap! I'm not sure that bubble's actually necessary. I think you could have just nixed this one and shown that, because it's obvious from here she's looking at it. Her eyes go right to it. Being chased. He hits the trap. Good motion blur effect right here. Soon I am dead, just like him. Just like him. Then she sobers up, picks up his gun. And we get the full horror of Stalingrad. And that's where I'm going to leave off this, because I don't want to show any more of the book than this. I feel like I've shown too much of the book already, and I sure hope the creator doesn't get mad at me. But I really felt like it was necessary to kind of show this part. Because this kind of sets the tone. This is Stalingrad. This is not happy, fun Russia land. This isn't, oh, our buildings have minarets land. No. This is Stalingrad. Kid that's froze to death. And then his mama, who's not froze to death, kind of wishes she was. They have a good chat. The rest of the book is fine. I don't really have any complaints. The pacing in this issue, A+, would read again. That was probably a complaint I had in earlier issues. I probably didn't voice it, but the pacing in the first one I thought was not that great. That first issue was pretty rough. The second one was better. Third one is better than the second one. The third one, in fact, you probably could have just dropped the first issue off entirely, and it would have been fine. Let's pop over to the Actually, no, it's not. Yeah, let's pop over to the Kickstarter. So you can come here, check it out yourself. As of this point, they got 16 days to go. They're most of the way to meeting their goal. Definitely come check this out. The book, I gotta say, is not 100% my jam. And if I wanted to get in on this now, I have this mental block of my own where I'm like, I gotta have like physical copies because I don't believe very strongly in reading digital. I also have some very minor questions about her character as it regards the Polish stuff that's introduced in the first issue, then kind of dropped after that. It's not really pursued any, but she mouths off to her superior when she's being uh, assigned. She quips like, "Oh, as opposed to the Russian soldiers that invaded us," because it totally happened, and the Russians totally killed a lot of Polish people. It's nasty. And I checked. There's her likeness, which is actually pretty good if you come over like to hear. No, that's not a good one. I'm trying to find. Yeah, probably good enough. I mean, if you look, like all the features are there. It's all right. It's all right. It's pretty good. It looks better here. I think she loses a little bit of the roundness, but I think that's still a pretty good depiction of her. The other thing is, like I was saying before, I got distracted by the picture that I had open. She was born in Moscow, so I don't know how much she would care about the Russian invasion of Poland and the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Whatever, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you should come over to the Kickstarter for this book, check it out if you're interested, and if you're really interested, go ahead and back it. You know, the value proposition is not bad. It's I checked this out. This includes shipping if you're in the U.S. So $12 for one issue. That oh, it even says with free domestic shipping. Look at that. Look at that. That's not bad. I have like one of the things I look at and think about when I'm looking at a Kickstarter is this going to cost me more than 50 cents per page? And this is lower than that. So from that perspective, kind of alluring. All right, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you for bearing with me through. I've been talking for like a half hour here. I actually had to take a break. So if you notice the cut in the video, that was because I started coughing and I had to cut that part out. Too much yakking. Anyway, you all have a great day. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check this book out. I'll see you next time. And until then, bye bye.